So today we're going to be talking about exponent rules, specifically with multiplication. So let's first talk about what is an exponent. So an exponent has two parts of an expression. So let's say we have 3 squared. The number or the variable that's the larger one is called the base. And the actual exponent itself is the smaller number that's written up top. So this smaller number is our exponent. So in this case, our 3 is the base, 2 is the exponent. And what these numbers mean is that our base is being multiplied 2 times. So that means 3 squared is the same as taking 3 times 3. So we're multiplying the base however many times by the exponent. So if we have another example, 5 to the 4th power, our base is 5, which means that we would be multiplying this number how many times? 4 times, because our exponent is 4. So we would want to multiply this a certain number of times. So that is how we get the answer to our exponent. So 3 squared would equal 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. And then we would do the same thing for 5 to the 4th power. You can also have variables be part of your exponent. So for example, instead of a number as the base, you can also have variables. For example, here I have x cubed, or x to the 3rd power. In this case, our base is just a letter, and this would be the same thing as taking x and multiplying this 3 times. So you could have numbers as your base, you could also have variables as your base. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the specific rules, and today we're just going to be talking about multiplication. This is also called the product of powers. Basically, it just means what happens when we take 2 things with exponents and we multiply them together. So I'm going to write out the statement first, our rule, and then we will go over what it means. So here is our rule. When you multiply 2 numbers or variables with the same base, you can add their exponents. So what does this look like? If I have a base, let's just use the letter b, and I have b to the 3rd power, and I'm multiplying this by b to the 5th power, I can see here that these two have the same base. Either they have the same letter or they have the same number in the base. Because they are the same, I can add their exponents together. So I can add together 3 plus 5, and this will tell me what the simplified expression is. So b to the 3rd power times b to the 5th power is the same thing as b to the 8th power. Why does this work? How come we can just add together the exponents? This goes back to remembering what we talked about up here with what our exponents mean. So let's write out what this looks like. So b to the 3rd power is the same thing as b multiplied 3 times, right? B to the 5th power is b multiplied 5 times. So right here I have 1, 2, 3, and here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if I multiply this together, this whole thing, count up how many of the variable we have. We have a total of 8. So we have a total of 8, which means this is the same thing as just writing b to the 8th power. So this is the reason why we can just add together the exponents. If they have the same base, all you have to do is add together the exponents and you have your simplified expression. Okay, let's try a similar practice problem. Try to pause the video now and simplify. What would m to the 4th power times m to the 2nd power equal? Go ahead and pause and solve on your own. Okay, hopefully you tried to solve this on your own. So again, these have the same base, the same letter, m. So all I have to do is add together the 2 exponents. So I just add together 4 plus 2. So m to the 4th times m to the 2nd power is the same thing as m to the 6th power. And this would be my simplified expression. Let's look at a little bit more of a complicated example here. So now we are trying to multiply things that have multiple variables and also have numbers. So what happens here? Well, remember our rule, okay? We only are going to simplify the ones that have the same base, okay? So look for the same base. For example, we have a number here, 3. If there are no other numbers, just variables, then I can't multiply this 3 times anything. So this 3 is going to stay the same. Next, I'm going to look at p. I want to see if there's any other variables with p. I see one right here. So I have a p right here. I'm multiplying this by p to the 3rd power. And this is just the same as p to the 1st power. When you don't have an exponent up here, there's an invisible exponent of 1. So I need to multiply p to the 1st power times p to the 3rd power. Add together 1 plus 3, that is 4. So my simplified expression is going to be p to the 4th power. And then I'm going to do the same thing for t. So here I have t to the 3rd power and t to the 4th power. Again, same base, so I can add their exponents together, 3 plus 4. So this gives me an exponent of 7. And this would be our simplified expression, 3 times p to the 4th, t to the 7th power. So for anything, if you have more than one variable or numbers mixed in, only look for something that has the same base, and then you can add the exponents together, and you'll have a simplified expression. I want you to pause the video and try this practice problem on your own. It is very similar to example 2. Find the product of 6 times n to the 3rd power times 2 times n to the 7th power. Pause the video and try to solve on your own. Okay, hopefully you've paused and you've tried to solve it on your own. Let's go over how we would simplify this. First thing, numbers first. So numbers I have is 6 and I have 2. When you have plain numbers like this, you can multiply them together like normal, because this is multiplication when we write it like this, 2 parentheses next to each other. So 6 times 2, that's going to be 12. And then for the variables, anything with an exponent, remember your rule. If they have the same base, you can add together the exponents. So the same base of n, and I'm just going to add together the exponents. So 3 plus 7, that's going to be 10. So my simplified expression is 12 times n to the 10th power. Okay, let's try one more problem like this. Hopefully we can do this one all by ourselves here. Find the product of 2q to the 2nd power times 9q to the 4th power now. Okay, hopefully you've paused and you've tried to solve it on your own. Same thing, multiply the numbers first. So 2 times 9, we multiply that like normal. And then add together your exponents. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So I have q to the 6th power for this one. Here is our very last practice problem. Try to pause and solve this one on your own, and then come back to see the answer. Okay, so I want you actually to pause for this one and try to solve it. If you solved it correctly, first thing we could multiply the numbers in front, the coefficients. So 5 times 7 is 35. Next, focus on each variable. So we have a here and an a over here. So adding together our exponents, 4 plus 4, we have a to the 8th power. And then same thing with our variable b. Remember, if the variable is by itself and there's no exponent, this is the same thing as having a 1 as your exponent. So this is b to the 1st power. So 1 plus 3 is going to be 4. So b to the 4th power. This would be our final exponent. So this was a lot of information. If you're still having trouble solving these problems on your own, you should go back and re-watch the video and then try to do the practice problems on your own again without looking at the answers this time.